Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, all my brothers and my sisters. I have a question for Mufti Meng. Actually, it's related to a question that a brother asked earlier. Due to the difficult, busy time in Singapore, it's difficult to really go beyond certain things. So despite all that, even if I am trying to example, trying to wake up early in the morning to pray tahajjud and fasting and trying to memorize the Quran and so on, the thing is that the struggling process where I'm really struggling for 6 months or 1 year, a very good example, I'm trying to not to maybe listen to music anymore. I'm trying to let it go. But at times, there is a point where I break my discipline and I listen to a song and I feel so guilty about it. So, how do I, is there a technique for the struggle, the processing struggle part where I can do something that actually I can win that?
Second sister was asking a question about sometimes we try to be good and then we falter, and what's one of the good ways of perhaps trying to correct ourselves and benefiting. What I believe, I'm going to make mention of two issues. The first is, when you increase your good, automatically the bad will decrease. So continue trying to increase your good in so many different ways, and your bad, inshallah, will automatically become less. You become in love with the good such that you begin to hate the bad. You start hating it in a way that you don't want to go back. Now, if by mistake you happen to falter and fall, do not let shaitan trap you. Stand up and walk again. Ask Allah's forgiveness and start afresh. Go back and say, oh Allah, forgive me, I faltered, I won't do it again. And this is why the beauty of tawbah is that if the conditions of tawbah are met, you are totally forgiven, completely. The sins are wiped out. What are the conditions of tawbah when it comes to sins committed between you and Allah? 4 conditions. You need to admit your sin, you need to regret it, you need to ask for forgiveness, and you need to promise not to do it again. So if you have fulfilled these 4 conditions, the sin is wiped out. And inshallah, you will not commit the sin again. But if out of human error, when you committed the sin again, it was not connected to the time you engaged in tawbah. When I asked Allah to forgive me, I promised Him I will not commit the sin again. That time I was genuine. But somehow by mistake I committed it again. Or out of human weakness I committed it again later on. The same 4 conditions of tawbah apply once again. So you admit, you regret, you ask Allah's forgiveness, and again you promise not to do it again. It does not affect your previous tawbah, the fact that you have repeated the sin later on without having calculated it at the time of the previous repentance. But the difficulty is, when you admit your sin, you regret it, you ask Allah's forgiveness, but when it comes to the promise to say, I won't do it again, you say, maybe, I might do it again, I don't know. That's not good enough. That is not good enough. So, from what the sister explained is that sometimes you fall back into a sin that you have been committing in the past. Stand up and ask Allah's forgiveness again. When I say stand up, I mean you have dropped, isn't it? So you get up from that and you ask Allah's forgiveness and you do not repeat it thereafter again. If you do not have hope of this nature, you will go deeper and deeper into the sin once again, because you are going to say to yourself, I'm weak. As it is, I engaged in tawbah once, now I did it again. Khalas, there's no hope for me. Don't lose hope. لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله. Never ever lose hope in the mercy of Allah. Be steadfast and keep on trying until we meet Allah. وَعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينَ. You will worship Allah until death comes to you. جزاكم الله خير والله أعلم.